New champions have been crowned in All Elite Wrestling, and has CM Punk's AEW return been confirmed? But first, WWE Monday Night Raw is no longer rated PG. For decades at this point, WWE television has been rated PG, with a more family-friendly presentation being seen on both Raw and SmackDown. Well, in an update provided by Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast, things are set to change, with Monday Night Raw being rated TV-14 moving forward, starting next week. And Zarian would tweet, "Starting July 18th, WWE Raw will have a TV-14 rating moving forward on USA Network. The PG era is over." There is currently no word on if SmackDown will follow suit over on Fox, although stay tuned to the channel for any further updates. This news will likely cause a bump in ratings for this Monday's show, with anticipation building as to what will change in WWE's presentation and how far they are willing to push their angles towards an adult audience. But could this be the return of the Attitude Era or even the Ruthless Aggression Era? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next up, a former champion has made their All Elite Wrestling debut. Before last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, live from Savannah, Georgia, the tapings for the next episode of Dark Elevation were held. One of the matches that took place featured former ROH Pure champion John Walters, making his first appearance for the company, with him taking on Tony Nese. We won't mention the result to avoid spoilers, but the match would main event the show. Walters would win the ROH Pure title belt all the way back in August 2004, holding it for 189 days. He would make his Ring of Honor return back in December 2020, last wrestling for the promotion in October 2021, this before the Tony Khan takeover of the promotion. A student of Killer Kowalski, the 42-year-old has 22 years experience in the business, but currently unknown if he has a long-term future in AEW. Next up, could a former WWE champion be heading to AEW? Since his kidnapping and sexual assault case was dropped in December 2021, Alberto El Patron, the former Alberto Del Rio in WWE, has been looking to get back into the wrestling business, with him often making claims that he is set to sign with a major promotion in the United States. With that said, there has since been reports that the major promotions in the US have zero interest in his services, likely due to his controversial past. This week, El Patron would speak with Sports Kida, where he was asked about a potential move to All Elite Wrestling, with him claiming to have had talks with the promotion, and he would say, "Yes, that's possible. I've been talking to a lot of people, and just like I said earlier, I know everybody, they're all talking about it, and they saw what happened and they know it wasn't fair for me, my career and my life, so they are all going to be giving me an opportunity, so it's just a matter of time for me and them to put something together and decide where we're going to go." It's worth bearing in mind that Alberto has made similar claims in the past regarding a return to WWE, with the company later denying any such interest, meaning his comments should be taken with a boatload of salt. But do you think Alberto El Patron has a future in All Elite Wrestling? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, real-life heat between two AEW tag team partners has been confirmed. It was recently speculated by Sean Ross Sapp that former Impact World Tag Team Champions and current AEW tag team Santana and Ortiz were having issues. Sapp would point out that there seems to be an ongoing issue between the two longtime tag team partners, noting that the duo no longer stands side by side during promos and barely interact when they are on screen. More notably, the duo have not competed in a 2-on-2 tag team match together since February, with them only teaming in faction-based matches. This week, Conan, who is close to both men, would be asked if the news was true during an episode of his Keeping It 100 podcast, where he would simply reply, "They are not on good terms." In April, Santana would tease an exit from AEW when he tweeted 126 days, which points to September 1st being the end of his current deal, with him more recently tweeting the word soon. It's currently unknown what the issue is exactly, but it seems that the two men no longer get along, with Santana seemingly set to leave AEW come September. Next up, a WWE star has hinted that she could be heading for the exit. On May 16th, then WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Sasha Banks and Naomi would walk out on the company following a fallout with management. They have yet to appear on WWE television since, with their future now in doubt. Last night, multi-time Women's Champion Naomi would take to Twitter to hint at her continued unhappiness with the company, with her writing, "Anything that costs you your piece is too expensive. Unknown." This follows a recent Instagram story in the same vein, which read, "The moment you put a stop to people taking advantage of you and disrespecting you is when they define you as difficult, selfish, or crazy. Manipulators hate boundaries." Naomi, real name Trinity Fatu, would recently hint that she will soon be able to do lucha things outside of WWE when responding to former WWE superstar Lince Dorado, telling him that she can as soon as possible. It seems that Trinity could soon be a free agent, or at least she plans to be, but it's unclear if she has been released from the company or when her contract expires. It was recently reported by PW Insider that both Sasha and Naomi have been removed from the internal WWE roster, a sign their future remains outside of the promotion. And next, Sasha Banks has been announced for a non-WWE event. As mentioned, Sasha Banks and Naomi would walk out on WWE following a creative disagreement in mid-May. Well, now we have some Sasha news coming in, as following unconfirmed reports that she received her WWE release, she's now been announced for the upcoming C2E2 event in Chicago, Illinois this August. C2E2, which stands for Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, would tweet out the news and would say, "Please join us in welcoming our next C2E2 guest, Mercedes Varnado, Sasha Banks. Whether you've seen her in the ring or as Cosca Reeves in The Mandalorian, you are not going to want to miss out on this photo and autograph opportunity." Fightful Select have since provided an update on the Banks situation, with them revealing that the announcement has led to wrestling conventions reaching out to Sasha to book her for themselves, although they are said to have been told she is unable to take wrestling-related bookings until January 1st, 2023, with them being quoted a firm and specific rate. It's unclear if her not appearing in wrestling-related bookings is a personal preference, or if it's tied to something in her contract, but Fightful are currently trying to get to the bottom of it, meaning there could be an update shortly. For now, she seems to be allowed to take on non-wrestling related bookings, which could suggest she is under a non-compete clause until January 2023, or this could perhaps just be the end of her WWE contract if the reports of her being released are false. And next up, new champions have been crowned in All Elite Wrestling. Last night's episode of AEW Dynamite would be main evented by a three-way tag match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, with the Young Bucks defending against Team Taz's Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, as well as the team of Swerve in Our Glory, which consists of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. In the end, it was Swerve and Lee who walked away as the new champions when Strickland scored a pinfall on Starks, with both men picking up their first ever AEW belts. The result was actually spoiled on Twitter prior to the match, when the Now Arena, the host of this year's AEW All Out pay-per-view, would upload a graphic for the event which showed Swerve and Lee holding the tag team belts. There is also another interesting detail on the graphic that we'll get to later on. Following his tag team title win in the main event of Dynamite, Keith Lee would address the Savannah crowd, opening up about a tweet that he had made earlier in the day where he revealed that he had some less than stellar news. It was later clarified by AEW President Tony Khan that Lee would be present on the show following fan concerns, and as we know, not only did he wrestle, but he won his match. After the show came to a close, Keith would reveal what his tweet was referring to before discussing his own health issues from the past, and he would say, "I thank you all so very much. Swerve, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I only have 3 people in my world that I consider to be extremely close to me. One of them I've known for about 2.5 decades. My friend, his name is Lucilius King. I've known him since 1998. I found out a little while ago that there's a chance he may have cancer. As most of you know, last year I nearly died. I didn't say a word until the threat was gone and passed. There isn't much you can do to rattle me against me, but when it comes to people I love, I found out 2 days ago that my friend has stage 4 colon cancer, and I dedicate this match to him and to another buddy of mine named JD Griffey. The fact is, I don't care if we won or lost, this is a brotherhood. I'm devoting my everything to that. So, Lucilius King, this is more than just a victory for me, more than just a victory for our story. This, sir, is a victory for you and a statement of my goddamn love." Lee would close with a promise that he will always be there for his friends. With that said, we wish Lucilius all the best in his battle with cancer, which I'm sure is an extremely difficult time for him, his friends, and his family. And finally, has CM Punk's AEW return been confirmed? On AEW Dynamite last night, it was confirmed that the All Out pay-per-view is returning to Chicago, Illinois from the Now Arena for the 2nd year in a row. This follows speculation that the event was being moved to Toronto, Canada. As mentioned earlier, a graphic was leaked during the show last night which spoiled the result of the tag team title match, with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland being shown with their new belts. This wasn't the only interesting detail, however, as the graphic also shows the current absent CM Punk Punk, who is of course the reigning AEW World Champion, as well as the current interim World Champion Jon Moxley, a sign that this could be the main event of All Out. Since the accidental post by the Now Arena, the graphic has now been posted to the official AEW Twitter account, further confirming that CM Punk's return could be imminent. On the June 3rd edition of AEW Rampage, it was announced that Punk had suffered an injury shortly after his AEW World title win at Double or Nothing, with him remaining as champion whilst out of action. An interim champion would then be crowned at the AEW New Japan Forbidden Door show a few weeks later, with a title unification match seemingly set for Chicago on September 4th, 2022. With the return of CM Punk, we can also expect the return of the also absent MJF, following his recent pipe bomb promo on June 1st, with him not being seen since. It was hinted after the fact that he was set to feud with CM Punk, although his injury likely delayed the storyline. Hopefully we can see the angle back in motion as we head towards the autumn, with this potentially set to become feud of the year. If I had to guess, I think CM Punk's going to walk away with the win before Maxwell Jacob Friedman shows up to spoil the celebrations in Punk's hometown. But who do you think leaves Chicago as the undisputed AEW World Champion, and does this signal the return of MJF? Let me know in the comments down below. And before you go, make sure you check out the Moxley era, Jon Moxley's reign as AEW Champion.